I saw one of those memes about the tape thing you said the other day.
Oh yeah, the Geordie one.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
tape.
Yeah.
What was the
I think
meme?
it was Baxter that must have like reposted it or something.
It was like Geordie getting ready for bed, and it's like a duct tape all over his face.
Yeah, that's textbook George.
Textbook George,
That is
baby.
textbook George. What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 19 of the Coffee Club Pod. Still here in sunny Florida. We're doing it outside, which is a little risky today because
It's very risky. I'm scared I'm going to get rained on. I got my nice Florida shirt on.
Beautiful sunny Florida where it rains constantly.
yeah, it's been pretty depressing because well, obviously we're here for warm weather and we sound like stuck up, spoiled children right now,
Dude,
but it's been
seriously.
pretty like rainy and windy and just cold. And we keep comparing it to Phoenix because a year ago all of us were training in Phoenix, and that's like Phoenix is like the most reliable, consistent, nice weather.
Yeah.
And we keep comparing and it's
Which
just
we
so nice
shouldn't.
there.
We shouldn't compare it because we should focus on where we are, but
Yeah.
it's also very hard to not look at like the weather and just be looking at Phoenix and how nice it is right now. But
It's 70 and sunny every single day.
Yeah, and it's not like this weather has affected anything we've done really. I guess your workout actually, yeah, that was a tough one. You guys had the boys, Ollie and George, had their what would be like their final big pre-Millrose workout a few days ago, and it was a pretty fucking shit day for that.
There was about seeing Ben post from Boulder a couple of days later doing the exact same workout, and it looked primo.
Boulder was like beautiful weather on that day, so that was kind of sad. But I mean, it's still very nice here overall. No, we
It
can't
is.
really complain. We just complain because we have literally nothing else to talk about or to do. You know, that's one thing I've just came to my mind. Well, before we get to it, shout out to Greg Cooper for sending us beans this week. Wonder State Coffee from, we believe, Wisconsin.
More Wisconsin shit.
dude,
Yeah.
Wisconsin
We
keeps
can't
on
get away
giving.
from Wisconsin.
They keep on
It
giving,
was
man.
bloody good coffee though.
Such
Thanks,
good
Greg.
coffee.
Keep on giving.
We've been
Three
drinking
Three
it.
bags of that good stuff.
Yeah.
We went
and
through it pretty quick as well.
still been hounding through the beans, so thank you for that. But I was going to say, something that's weird about this camp, which I realized, is we don't do anything. Like, we haven't like had a TV show that we've been super into. We haven't had a game that we've been super into playing. What do we do all day?
I don't know where the time has gone.
We've tried to get into some sort of card game or something, and then Leah
never
would come
works.
in.
Couple of
and-
nights of cards.
Yeah.
We played Among Us one night.
Leah,
That was fun.
Leah would come in for the card game, say, "Let's play cards," and then
We've
spend
literally
all the
watched
time
one
on the phone.
movie. Well, I feel like we've been watching a lot of football when it's on. Like, that's been
true.
our thing.
That's been like the highlight.
The playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that again this weekend. But
No one can concentrate for that long, I feel.
yeah,
For
I
the
don't know what
games.
it is. Also, we have been driving a lot for runs. We spend a lot more time in the car here than we normally would, which is kind of a downer, but that could explain where some of the time goes.
This is true.
So
That
I-
and going to Publix.
We've been to Publix like nearly. What? How many times a week would you say?
Yeah,
Nearly
Publix is
every
the
day.
big grocery
Nearly
store
every
right next
day.
to here. And I think just out of pure laziness, we find it really hard to shop for more than one night.
It's so hard to think more than one day ahead.
Yeah, we live in like a vortex where
I found the
time doesn't
receipt from
exist.
yesterday in my pocket.
So yeah, that's been our life, our daily life here on training camp. I guess exactly what you would expect. Train and then just chill out. The other big thing anything more to say?
It depends on what you're about to say.
I was going to talk about the beans.
I was going to talk about special visitors that came in and they just left.
Who's that?
Your parents.
Oh yeah, shout out to my parents.
Shout out to Morgan's parents. They actually came in
Rob Natty.
to see the team, meet Dayton
Yeah.
for the first time.
I think your mom
and
was just on training camp.
I think
Oh,
she was ripping it, man. If you
So,
saw that.
it was hilarious because
She's putting in
anyone that knows my
miles.
parents, my dad, pretty typical dad, like loves to play golf, loves to just like enjoy life. My mom
loves donuts.
loves donuts. My mom, like crazy runner, like always wants to be doing stuff. And so she was here in training camp with us, and it was literally her ideal holiday. That's how she described it. She's like,
What?
and I'm like, yeah, this is our everyday life. Like, it's pretty sweet. She's like, this is all I want to do. But then my dad
About
was
to go skiing in Utah.
yeah,
and
my
she
dad was
says
bored out of
these
his
few
mind.
days.
Yeah, they're going skiing since like they haven't been skiing for a long time.
Yeah,
No.
my family's really into skiing, and obviously with the situation in Australia and all that, they haven't been in a long time. So they're heading over to Park City. We're pretty jealous.
I guess half the holiday was for your mum then and half
Yeah.
for your dad.
Pretty much. You wouldn't, if you were on just pure holiday, you wouldn't, unless you're someone crazy like my mum, you wouldn't want to spend more than 3 days here, because we're really just in the middle of nowhere. Unless you're going like Disneyland with a family, like we're really in the middle of nowhere. So not much to do, but Yeah, I would have liked to get them on the podcast if like the timing had worked out. My mom
Yeah.
would be pretty funny on here.
She'd be great.
And my dad.
She'd be great. Your dad would be great too. I think having them together as well would be a good mix.
So
I
next
feel.
time any of our parents are here,
But,
let's try schedule that into the time.
No, don't. Yeah,
We
my
even-
parents.
yeah,
would-
there's even nothing on the way back from any of the runs. In Phoenix last year, like the big thing we would, like after workouts or runs, like would always just stop somewhere on the way back and Ritz would buy us like coffees or smoothies or something. It literally hasn't happened
Nothing
a
to
single
do.
time.
You're just on the same freeway.
Oh no, we've had
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A once.
Chick-fil-A
Well,
is on the way.
we've
But
back.
I
had Chick-fil-A.
paid for
We've had
that.
Chick-fil-A 3 times.
I paid for that because I was like, I need to get some goddamn Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
I-
Ollie's
yeah,
in
it was-
heaven.
I was in heaven for that. But it was good to see your parents. They took us out for that really funny dinner, steak dinner.
Yeah,
And
we
then
went to like a very Florida, like,
They
Place.
thought we were the rednecks. Remember?
Was there alligator on the menu?
I wish.
Oh, we didn't check. I didn't
I
fully
wish.
look, but
It was like pretty typical, like, steak place, but also some seafood. And the lady, this lady serving us was like, she looked at Ollie and I, she's like, where are you guys from? You got some like redneck accent or something. I was like, what?
like literally Morgan's parents who have a thick
Probably
Australian
haven't heard of
accent.
Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Morgan's parents had a thick Australian accent. Right
Probably-
next was talking to us.
They probably assume
And
it's
they
like a
didn't know-
different southern accent.
Yeah.
It was weird, but
It was
I
strange.
was all about it. I was like, I started playing character. I'm like, hell yeah, I'm from Alberta. No, I didn't do that. But next time, that's what I'll do. I'll just fully lean into being a redneck. But yeah, thank you, parents, for visiting. That's the first time I've seen
Well, your
them
mum didn't want to leave.
since
This morning it was
2019.
like your dad was like, let's go. Your mum was like hiding behind you. He's like, I want to
Yeah.
stay.
Yeah, it's my
It's pretty
parents.
funny. But they're skiing now, so they should have a good time.
Yeah, they'll be having a great time. But it was so nice to get to see them. But yeah, so Coffee Club, Coffee Beans, they went live about a week ago, and great success.
Great
really.
day for
Yeah,
Coffee Club.
they
Oh, I forgot to tell you guys, I bought all the beans. I wanted to make sure that we that we did well, and I wanted to make you guys feel good. No, I'm kidding. But
well, we
it-
appreciate that because it made us feel pretty good.
they sold out pretty quickly too.
They sold out in about 90 minutes. It was 100 bags of beans. So big thank you to everyone who bought them and supported us through doing that. We really hope. Obviously,
Have they gone out yet?
none of them have really shipped
Maybe.
yet. I don't think because we haven't even got our ones yet. But yeah, we like obviously we appreciate just the support, but we really hope it's actually beans that you just like love. 'cause
Yeah,
they're
we definitely
high
took
quality.
a lot of steps to make sure that we had the right beans and the right tasters. We had Jason on to taste
Yeah,
it.
we were super confident they were going to be good and like people would buy them right up until the day, and then all of a sudden we were like, shit.
We lost all confidence. Yeah,
we
were
got
like,
we
"There's
got
no way
nervous
anyone-
right before
No
they
one's
went
gonna buy
live.
these beans. But
Yeah, it's scary,
Yeah.
selling stuff. It's the real world.
Real
I don't
deal.
know. So
And let us know as well in the comments like what you guys think,
Like,
because
yeah.
that's like it's an important thing for us to put out those nice beans and hopefully enjoy
Yeah,
them.
hopefully they come in soon. Matt, our roaster, is working away. He's grinding. He's just started, as we were saying last time, and now he's got to roast 100 beans. In a
hopefully
few
he's not
days.
grinding.
Not
'cause they're
grinding.
whole
You're right.
beans.
Roasting away. Good point. Good point. He's
He's slaving away.
yeah, he's slaving away. We'll see that. So yeah, we'll. People are still asking about like shirts and stuff. That'll hopefully come within the next 2 months, or maybe even the next month. We're going to start working on that now. But we're kind of taking things one step at a time.
We're just
like,
trying to
slow
tease you
and
guys.
steady.
We want you guys to get a bit of a tease, and then, but know that we're in the process of it.
Yeah. So obviously today we're mostly going to talk about Millrose because these two boys are tomorrow heading to New York to race in
Warmer
Millrose.
weather.
What was that?
It's gonna be warmer weather.
Is
Nah,
it really?
No, it's supposed to be fucking freezing.
I was like, I hope
It's gonna be
not.
snowing and freezing cold. Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
yeah, but racing tomorrow, based on when this comes out.
Oh yeah. So
So-
it's come out Friday.
Tune in tomorrow afternoon.
NBC.
They're like mid-afternoon races.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just for our events. I mean, every event's going to be stacked, and we have two of the girls on as well in the 3K.
Yeah.
and the
We
mile,
so we have Sage in the mile, and then Alicia in the 3K on the women's side, and then Ollie's in the whoop. Want to make
the
a mile.
Whopper mile.
And Geordie's in the 3K. And yeah, obviously Millrose is Millrose. So it's all stacked events. Actually, this is what I was thinking. Is Millrose like the biggest indoor meet of the year? I was trying to think because obviously World
Yeah.
Indoors is happening this year, but I don't even think in the US. This is obviously a very US-centric way of looking at it. But like people don't even know World Indoors is happening.
Nah, I think more people will watch Millrose for sure.
I agree.
Because I don't know if Worlds is gonna be on NBC.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
It's hard to
never
find those
watched,
ones.
I've never watched Worlds before,
I haven't either.
except the year that it was in Portland,
Yeah.
because I think the US just made a bigger deal about
I
it.
think we can hands down agree that Millrose is the biggest domestic US indoor meet
Yeah.
this year.
When was World Indoors last? 2018, right?
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
It was in the UK, wasn't it?
I think it was. I think it was
Yeah,
Birmingham
Birmingham.
or something like that. 2018, 2016 Portland, and then it was meant to be. It was meant to
2020?
be in China in
Yeah.
right COVID
In
hit.
2020?
It was meant to be in China
That's
That's
right.
right.
because I was like thinking about doing that, and then so obviously that got cancelled, postponed. So now it's in this year. It's in
Belgrade.
Belgrade.
Yeah.
Are you guys still thinking about doing that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, no, neither of us. Well,
We haven't been.
Ollie has a standard, but hasn't been selected. I don't have either. So, but hopefully we'll have the standard after this weekend.
I'm sure you do.
I think
Yeah.
if you ran under 13:10, you had to stand for the
Mhm.
3K. So, I mean, yeah, we'll find out hopefully in the next few weeks. Athletics New Zealand and Athletics Australia will give us the information, and then we'll hopefully pop over, and that would be a pretty cool experience. I mean, any time you get to compete in a world championship is a very valuable and also very exciting experience. So,
But yeah,
but Millrose is going to be
first.
Millrose is going to be big, and it's always big. And I feel like the fields this year, particularly, are just ridiculous.
Yeah. What event we want to talk about first? Mile or 3K?
Let's talk about
3Ks first, so let's do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
3K.
The mile's the main event. So
Yeah. Well, you say that,
yeah.
but if you look at the fields, I think
The 3Ks.
no offense, Ollie.
No.
I think a lot of people will be really excited to see the 3K.
I agree. I'm thinking the 3K for the men in particular is going to be probably the most hyped event.
Yeah.
Like just personally, because like you look at that field, and it's just
yeah.
ridiculous.
I mean, I think a lot of the people in the 3K had the option to do the mile,
Yeah.
And they
myself
chose to-
included.
Yeah, and they chose to do the 3K. So
So to run down the
But I
names,
just didn't want to run against
we
Ollie.
got
that's not true. That's not true.
we got George Beamish, legend, and then we got Cole Hocker is doing the 3K. Cooper Tier is doing the 3K.
Wait, Hulk Cocker?
Is that what I said?
It's
No,
Hulk
it's-
Cocker and Cooper Teardrop, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot you had your own names for them.
Yeah.
Who else is in it?
Yeah, well, let's just let
Luis?
Ollie name everyone. What's
Yeah.
Luis's
Luis,
Ollie's name?
Grillella?
Grillella.
Gravolver.
Louis G.
Gravolver?
Gravolver is the best commentator's name I've heard
Yeah,
of. man.
Gravolver. We've
Is
got
Nico in it?
Nico.
That's a lot of NAU people.
Yeah,
Nico Youngblood, and then it's starting to rain.
It is starting to rain.
Dude, the field's crazy. I'm gonna forget people, but we got Drew Hunter.
Yeah.
Couple of 10 men,
Wait, is there
Drew
more
and
than
Sam.
Oh, Sam's in it as well.
and then a bunch of college kids.
Sam Pepperoni.
Oh,
Nico-
actually, Ollie's favorite,
Ollie's
Mr.
favourite
Charles
runner,
Hicks
Charles
is in
Hicks.
it.
Oh yeah, Hickey's in it. Yes, let's go.
Hickey,
The
Yeah, I
pride
like
of the
that.
Big Ten and McBurn, Morgan Beadlescombe.
Oh, Morgan Bealson. Dude, the field's got a lot of good collegiates in it too. So
Yeah, this is kind of like, I feel like these races are, the college kids are so good now,
Mm.
where it's like these races where
they're
you
gonna
get
be
the
just as
mix of
competitive.
the pro and the thing, it's going to be pretty intense competition. So I think it'll be pretty quick, I imagine. The fastest PB is Drew Hunter at 7:39, but I feel like, I don't know what
at
the
the very
pace-
least going for the collegiate record.
The pacing is
of
going to
7:38.
7:30. Yeah.
7:30.
So I think they're
38.
pacing over 7:37.
Do you know who's pacing it?
No.
Oh,
That's-
Wesley
that's a
Kiptu's in
tough-
it.
Oh, Wesley
Kiptu?
Kiptu's in it.
He's also
That's
in
a
it.
tough pace
There's a lot
job.
of people we're
Dude,
forgetting.
you
that's
have to
like-
be really good to be able to run 5 laps of 61s.
That's quick. So, yeah, it'll be an interesting one because it's like when you have that many like amazing athletes, and it's not even just like athletes who are like can run quick times. Like it's like races, you know, it's people that are like known to like execute races and do well. It's tough, like having that many bodies on a small, tight indoor track. Like there's normally some chaos, and this is kind of what I said to George. I was like start lists look really intimidating, but often what actually happens in the race, like 50% of the field doesn't race up to their potential because it's just like
Just too many people.
it's just too many people. So it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out. I think
It's interesting with the pacing too, because I feel like a field that stacked, you'd want to win the race more than you'd run on a fast time, you know?
wait, is Connor Manson in it?
Yeah.
Man's
Oh
in
my
it.
God.
Oh my
Man's in
god.
there.
All right, sorry, we're probably forgetting like people that they're gonna.
Well, we just
come up
named a
later.
lot of people. I think that might have been almost the whole field we just named.
But
I can't imagine
the
they
crazy
much more
thing
than
is
that.
with a field that deep, like most people probably value winning that race more than running a fast time.
100%.
So it's going to be interesting to
Those
see.
two things are going to go hand in hand.
Yeah.
The person who wins is going to run fast.
Especially when you have Wesley Kiptu and Connor Mance in the race.
Two
Those,
guys that don't want it
Yeah.
to go slow.
those,
so
those are two guys who are going to put themselves up near
it's
the
going to
front.
be a nice string, and then it's
Yeah.
going to be a
Arguably,
ripper.
whoever wants to win that's not Kohaka is going to have to do it from the front.
That's it. That's the thing I was gonna say. Like Cole Hocker, man, that guy hasn't beaten any kick for like a year or two.
I'd say
He has to be in
arguably
the
he
position,
probably
though.
has like the best last 150 in the world right now
Seriously.
in distance running. I couldn't think of someone who has a better
I swear no matter what it is, I swear he closes in a 25 every time.
every time. No matter, yeah, slow race, fast race, it's 25.
He goes to those arms and he just goes freaking wild.
Like
and
the only time
wins
he's been
25.
beaten, like in the Olympics, is when the winner was running 3:28.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder what he closed in the Olympics actually. Because he
Probably
ran
25. No, I don't know. Maybe not 25.
He ran 3:32 there.
331.
3:31.
Yeah,
So if he closed in 25, that'd be crazy. But
that would be.
yeah, and then obviously Cooper is like, they train together, so
Mhm.
they probably know each other really well. I mean, they do know each other really well, and you feel like with training partners like that, there's always a bit of a rivalry. And I think at this point, Cooper is probably resigned to the fact that he won't outkick him, but he would be
So he's gonna have to run it.
yeah, but he's
front.
more of a 5K guy, so he's like probably really confident in his last K. But I'm sure like everyone in that race is confident in their last K.
Well, the thing, it's going to be...
There are people that just know that, like Conor Mance is gonna.
It's
He
a
just ran a
dick
half
measuring
marathon.
contest,
Like
man.
Yeah.
he's gonna have to run the last 4 laps as hard as he can.
The
if he
thing
wants
for
to try and
Conor
win.
Mance is it's 3Ks are run so fast now that it's so like he's recently run a half marathon and this is such a different pace. But with that said, he has a 3:37 1500 to his name, so it's like you can't even like say he doesn't have that type of speed because
Yeah.
he does. So that's gonna be an exciting race. How you feeling for it, George? Have you thought about like tactics or anything, or you I guess you're probably not the type of person to really overthink that stuff. You probably just go race, huh?
Yeah, normally, but I don't know if like I got away with last year just winning from in last place a few times, and I think at some point the field gets too good where you can't do that,
Especially indoors.
especially indoors when it gets harder to pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the Bell lap at pre, I was in last place, and like that's pretty late in the season, and like everyone's not in the fitness of their lives, and it wasn't like everyone trying to run fast.
Yeah.
So that you just you can't be in last place with 400 to go on an indoor track and expect to win. So
The one thing that I want to put in, as I've been training with George for this little while, is that when we talk about Cole Hocker's last 200, I think we should also talk about George Beamish's 200,
Very true.
because I think looking at the way George closes in races is pretty impressive and also very similar to what Cole can do. When George gets a whiff, when he smells blood, he's ready to go. So I feel like if between those two, like, it's going to be a pretty cool last 200 if that's kind of where the race might go. Off a fast pace, it'd be interesting to see how that would turn out. But watching George train and watching the fitness he's had, it's going to be pretty freaking sick.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's just like all positioning.
I'd love to take Cole on in the
Yeah.
last 200.
It's all positioning, like,
or
definitely in
anyone
that
else
race,
who's
but
there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay,
but
just-
it's all about getting to the last lap
We might have to.
Yeah.
on 7:37 pace.
Yeah.
We might have to move, eh?
No, I think we're good. I mean, just for anyone who's listening, like, it's like legit just raining right now, and we're outside with
How's
all
your
our
camera gonna
electronics.
go? Should we,
I don't know how waterproof my camera is. If we have an
should
umbrella,
we put something on there? Could run and get Parkers too.
yeah. All right, let's take a quick break, and we'll get something put over my camera because it's actually pretty pleasant despite the rain.
I don't mind it. Well, Ollie looks cold, but
Yeah,
he's
'cause
wearing
I'm
nothing.
wearing my Florida shirt and I'm freezing.
All right, we'll go in our wet weather, and we'll be back in one moment. All right, so we're back. We're just powering through the weather. If you're listening to this, I would say check it out on the YouTube video because it's just actually
This
raining.
is
We're
the-
outside.
We've committed to staying outside.
Florida,
And
the Sunshine State.
Yep. And we have a lot of electronics, so we'll see. If it just suddenly cuts, we do this because we love you guys. So I think
Committed.
that's our wrap up for the 3K though, right?
Unless you want to touch on, does this relate to altitude conversions or not
Oh.
yet? Separate. Because the person,
Separate,
people
but-
in the race ran a couple altitude conversions.
I think it's a great time to talk about it. So if you were paying attention last week in the Sky Dome at Flagstaff, Louis G and Nico and a host of other NAU boys ran a mile. Louis G was going for sub 4 up
He
in
was.
Flag, which is obviously extremely hard to
very
do.
bold take,
Yeah. In
but
the end-
realistic.
yeah, I mean he's amazing, and either way, good way to prepare for this week, you would
Definitely.
say. But the end result was that Nico won in 4:02, which gets converted down to 3:53.
It was 354.0.
Yeah, and there's you can talk about altitude conversions, which we will, but then also kind of shit thing to throw some shade at NAU is that they count that as their school record, so that
They do.
that unfortunately that conversion knocks off Geordie's school
No,
mile record.
Well, I didn't have it.
Oh, I thought you had it from Millrose.
No,
56.
because Diego's school record was already from altitude.
Oh,
But no
so
one
you-
has. But I just have the fastest sea level mile.
Okay, so yeah.
So I
that
didn't
makes
have
sense.
it anyway.
Yeah.
But it was already from. It was from altitude, and now it's still from
Yeah.
altitude.
So if they did pure mile times, which it's like obviously that's what they should do, Geordie would have the record, but they count altitude times. But then that brings in the discussion of just generally talking about altitude conversions, because you look at some of these events and it's like these kids, like especially when we have so many schools now, like NAU, who just have these big rosters of talented kids, like you could fill up the whole mile field at NCAAs with conversions. Like,
I mean, yeah.
and it's like there is a science to it, but it's kind of wild because like I don't get how they do it, because is it just like a pure scientific thing? Because obviously
Yeah.
different people respond to it differently.
Uh-huh.
So how does it actually work? Do you know, George?
Nah.
No.
Apart from the fact that it's just based on how high
Yeah.
you are.
Well, the one thing you
And
did
I don't know
mention-
how they work out like the flat track conversion.
Yeah,
too,
because
is
they also
pretty
do a
crazy.
flat 200 one.
I
Like,
think the collegiate lead in the 3K right now is altitude and flat track adjusted.
is it really?
Yeah,
What track was that?
Montana State.
Like, how do you do the science behind that? There's no way they've actually done like the real science behind that.
You did mention too that like the more you're at altitude, the more that conversion could probably go down. You know, like
Yeah, it definitely got easier. Like it was funny how Luis put up his. I don't know if you saw his story the day before. He put like his mile times
Yeah.
from the dome, like in the previous years,
Uh-huh.
and it was like, what was his first one? I can't remember. I think
I didn't
over
see it.
410,
yeah.
and then it was like 08, 07, and then NA, and then 40, whatever he ran, 404 or something.
Yeah, well,
Like the first year I ran in dome, I ran 424.
wait, really?
Yeah, I mean I
Damn.
was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Dude, I ran
And then I
420 at the Shell. Remember? I
Yeah.
came last.
Yeah.
I was sick.
I ran 424, and then I ran 414 the next year, and then the next year I paced, and then I ran 406, and then I ran 407 the year after that.
Yeah. It's, I mean, and
Like it's hard,
yeah.
no doubt about it.
That's the
But
thing.
also, I mean, and Nico's like an insane talent, and he's good at sea level regardless. But also, based on what I've heard, he came to altitude and immediately started crushing it,
yeah. Like that's the thing. You get kids like
which
that,
is not super common.
and then you get the opposite. So, because there are kids on your team who obviously were born or
Yeah.
grew up.
I mean, Nico ran 402, and in the second heat, Quaxi, who's a 357 miler, ran like 415.
really.
And I'd put my money on Quaxi at sea level.
Yeah. And
Okay,
it-
that's the thing. Like, I was going to ask.
But he
do you think
sucks
Nico
at
could
altitude.
run
Like,
three-
look, Theo
54?
can't run to save his life at altitude,
yeah.
and you just have to like come to accept that because he's still super fit.
Yeah. That's a good question. Ollie asked is like, can Nico actually run 354 at
Zero.
sea
at
level?
sea level right now?
Like maybe he can.
Yeah, I don't want to just
Right.
say he can't because maybe he can.
But do you think it would be harder for him than what he did at the dome, per se? Like, because obviously he's a strength-based runner, more than a speed guy. Would you?
Yeah,
But obviously the mile now, like, you can run that off strength. So
Yeah.
it's probably like it'd be interesting to have Nico compare both miles if he ran a 254 and then a 402 at flag, and then be able to say like which one was
Yeah.
easier or harder.
it's unlikely he runs a mile at sea level.
Yeah,
So
'cause
we're
you
not
probably
gonna
won't- Yeah, we probably won't find that out.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it is true that obviously schools at altitude have very limited opportunity to go down to sea level to race. So it does really make sense to have the conversions for them, but it's
Mhm.
still it's just a tough one. Like there's no right solution that it seems like. It's just so complicated. All right, we are back. Another weather break. The rain got too hard for us. All our electronics and us were getting rained on pretty heavily there, so we had to bail. And now the rain's like actually really light again. Annoyingly, we just moved everything.
At this point, everything was getting so wet. I think it was the right call.
It was the right call, and so we are back. And you may notice if you're watching the video version that we have a guest now. Ben Flanagan, how you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for letting me crash the party here.
Dude, it is an absolute pleasure to have you on. We talked about you actually in the last pod because we did the Houston half recap, and you had a great run there, and that was also your first run in the new kit. So it's nice to have you on. Just so there's no confusion, unfortunately Ben is not joining the OAC, but he did do Simon on, but he is going to join the Very Nice Track Club. So How you feeling, man? You excited for that?
Yeah, I'm pumped, and it's been really cool to hang out with all you guys, OAC here, and meet the rest of the on team. But yeah, I mean, it was a pretty tough decision because you guys have like such a good thing going on and out in Colorado. Yeah, for me, like I've gotten pretty homesick over the last 3 years, and for my girlfriend and I, Ann Arbor definitely seemed like the appropriate next step for me to get closer to home and be around some familiar faces. So I'll be working with Ron Warhurst there, and then getting my ass kicked by Mr.
By the boys.
I guess freshman now. I was gonna say high schooler still,
Yeah.
Hobbs Kessler, and
Yeah,
I will not. I refuse to get my ass kicked by Mason though.
Yeah,
which
don't let that happen.
Don't let
I'm
that
sure
happen.
you guys both agree with that.
Oh,
Being Big
hell
Ten
yeah.
guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Don't let that happen.
We'll get more into the Ben Flanagan story in a little bit. When the rain rudely interrupted us, we were mid. Actually, we were talking about the altitude conversions for indoors. I think we've said our piece on that pretty much, but we still have to cover more of Millrose, the big Whoop Want to Make a Mile.
The Whopper.
Shout out to Whoop, Ollie's
Shout out to Whoop.
new sponsor. For true fans of the pod, they'll find that pretty funny, I would think. No more comment than that. But yeah, so we talked about the 3K, and it was just like so many names, heavy hitters. The mile at Millrose is always that's historic. Like it's always going to be a big one, but it doesn't quite have like the same amount of names.
Not the same spice.
Not the same
spice
spice
isn't the same.
but it's got like kind of a spicier spice at the top end, because obviously it looks like the big battle is going to be between Josh Kerr and Ollie Hall, and it's like that's been waiting to happen for a while. I feel
People
like
have been wanting that battle.
Dude, that's all
last
people
year.
wanted last year.
Yeah.
They were dodging each other.
yeah, because you guys were both racing domestically a lot.
Well,
And-
no, I think that was the thing. Josh barely raced.
Yeah,
I raced a lot.
yeah. Ollie raced a lot. Josh did he did a couple. He did that. Yeah, I guess he didn't really do much.
He did one big one, 331, which was
Yeah.
very impressive. And then he went to the UK, won the trials against Jake Whiteman, which was also another impressive race, and kind of went to the Olympics and killed it. So bronze medalist at the Olympics. You can't hide behind that.
He
329.
hasn't raced since then. Ollie's run a lot since then.
That's true.
Yeah.
I
No,
mean-
I kept racing after the Olympics. He kind of said, you know what? I think I've done enough. I'm going to enjoy my break. And then, now he's opening up in Millrose.
Yeah, Josh Kerr's like annoyingly confident and successful. You know what I mean? Where he's like really confident, but he like every time he follows through. Like he's like, it's like, I don't know. He does this a lot now. Where he had that Instagram. He had an Instagram a few days ago. What was it, Ollie? It was like,
It was you should be looking forward to Want to Make a Mile only if you're a spectator
yeah, if you're a
Yeah.
spectator.
or something like that. Yeah.
So he's like just
It's pretty good. And he was definitely hyping up that Portland race the few days before too.
yeah.
And he came through and ran the fastest 1500 ever on American
soil.
So
Yep.
he really does just come through.
Yeah, and it's cool
But
because it's like
annoyingly confident.
if you're in a different sport, I think that would be more commonplace.
Yeah.
In running, it feels a little bit weird, but I don't
it's
know.
entertaining.
It's
That's-
entertaining.
It is
sure.
entertaining.
Yeah, maybe it's hard because like we're kind of close to it. But if you're a fan, I guess like that's just cool shit. That's just some cool Conor McGregor shit. I don't know.
I feel like the fans love it either way. Like fans still love the hype, even if someone like totally flops.
Yeah.
It's like the athletes, or at least I like. That's where I get like pissed. I'm like, dude, why'd you hype it up so much? Like, and you weren't even close. But
Yeah.
like from a fan perspective, like they just. It seems like they
Yeah.
always love the hype.
I guess it is a
Yeah.
win-win because you're raising the stakes.
Right.
You're
You're
raising the tension.
putting attention to it.
But as an
Yeah.
athlete, like I'm like all over those results when people start making comments like that, and then if they don't deliver, like that's where I'm like, dude.
It's
what
true.
the
It
heck?
would be so much. It'd be so much easier to not post anything and not say anything. And then if you have a bad race, it's like
You know, it's
He-
like you're gonna notice.
maybe he was expecting that. But
Yeah.
now he's like fucking put himself up there. Everyone's seen it, and
I feel
Yeah.
like you're always like definitely from a brand perspective, like doing yourself a favor, but
Yeah.
it's like it might come at the cost of like your reputation to other athletes.
Yeah.
That's how
The
I
thing
feel.
with Kerr's reputation, though, is he was hyping himself up before he was an Olympic bronze medalist. Now he's an Olympic bronze medalist going into the mile. He's going to be pretty confident and
So
be
he can
able
just
to
say
hype.
whatever he wants.
Yeah, well, I mean, I
Yeah.
think he's validated a lot of his performances with the way he talks.
Yeah.
So, like, I actually, I like it. I respect it. But,
Yeah.
you know, that's the one thing that he can also lead to putting a target on his back because people would love to scalp him.
Yeah. Such
know?
as
And it's not just
yourself,
me.
maybe.
There's people in the field that you can never know could have a bat out of hell race.
Would you
so-
would you say it's hashtag good for the sport?
I think it's hashtag good for the sport. What hashtag not good for the sport though is if he doesn't win and then he'll like hide behind an excuse Instagram post, which I don't think he would.
Though.
I don't think
I think he would say, "Yep, not my day. Move on."
Yeah.
But the one thing that's bad for the sport, which I do notice, is that when people hype up a race, then they don't deliver, and then they make an excuse for it in an Instagram post. That's not good for the sport.
Yeah.
You should just own up and say, "I had a shit race." We move on to the next one.
My takeaway, like initially after reading it, was like it's sick for in terms of hiding the tension for like you and him, like that battle. But then if you're like in the race, say you're someone who like just scraped into Millrose and like this is your big opportunity, and you're like, you know, you're gonna get messed up by him, and you see that, you're like, damn, bro, why'd you have to say that? Like, I know you're gonna beat me. Like this is a big race for me. Like
Tail between the legs.
yeah, it's like
At this point, though, who has the fastest mile PR indoors? Is it Prakel?
In the field? No.
I think it's Prakel.
Willis, probably.
oh yeah, so we
it is
haven't,
Willis.
we haven't
Yeah.
even mentioned who else
Or
is in the
Prakel. They
race.
both run
Prakel's run
351,
350.
Oh, wait,
Yeah.
really?
I think
Yeah,
he
yes.
is.
All right, then
I think Prakel has the fastest,
Willis
unless
is actually only on
Gregoric's in it.
351.
Because Gregoric's run 349, and then
is
Prakel's
he
run
in it?
350. I don't know if Gregoric's in it.
Wait.
I looked over the list. I didn't think I saw his name.
No,
I wouldn't be
think
surprised if he is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
He's in
it
that.
would be
All right, then
Johnny
he has the fastest PR for the mile indoors.
Yeah, I don't know who else is in it. Does anyone?
I know who's in it.
It's like
Craig
the,
Engels
it's
is
like
in
the
it.
American
Craig Engels is in
Craig
it.
Engels is in it.
Oh hell yeah.
Clayton Murphy's in it.
Oh, you got
Clayton Murphy too.
Clayton Murphy's in it.
Couple of Olympic medalists.
you do got the Hobbs in there too,
Hobbs
right?
Kessler's in
Oh,
it.
very nice track teammate.
Very nice
Yeah,
track
you
clubs
know,
getting
gotta give a shout
represented.
out.
Yeah.
There's some good guys in it. College-wise, Mario
Oh yeah. Garcia.
He's good.
from Ole Miss.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a really good
I feel
field.
like
it's still a really good. We're not.
I feel
okay,
like an idiot now saying it's less than the 3K
Yeah.
because everyone you just said, I'm like, oh, they're all like heavy hitters.
Yeah, no, the
They
3K,
are.
the 3K is very much like it's pretty like the deep
I think
there.
just-
But you can't want to make a mile that isn't deep. Like there's
No,
going to be good
100%.
people there, whether they're in shape or not.
I think
we'll
the
find
mile
out.
just improved
Yeah.
from like after the announcement of the
Like
field.
the
I think,
initial
like,
announcements. I
The
tell you what,
initial height was the 3K, and then the mile got really good.
it'll
Yeah.
be very interesting to see if Ollie continues his prophetic 2022. If Nick Willis does break 4 here, then it's exactly what Ollie said like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
What do you say?
I'll be in the race too, so I'll be a bit
Ollie
biased.
said Nick Willis is just going to miss breaking 4 at midnight, and then he's going to do it in a few weeks at like Millrose or something.
I did say that.
That's
yeah.
literally what Ollie said.
Oh.
So
Crystal ball, baby.
This is like I don't know, you guys typically do this, but like a little trip down memory lane. Like when you guys are talking about you and Josh Kerr, like I can't help but think about your guys' race in NCAA's
Yeah.
back in 2018. Because like I mean at that time, like Morgan being your teammate, me watching like what you did at Big Tens, like we all knew like you were in like ridiculous shape, but a lot of people probably didn't expect you to beat Josh that day, I would guess.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think Justin Kiprotich example was in the Big Ten, and he was probably also undervalued because he was second the year before
Right.
Yeah.
in the 15, and he's very like under the radar, but amazing racer. It's because he never ran quick. Like Kerr
Second
would
the
go
year
out to
before
Brian.
and second the year after.
Yeah,
That's kind of
Kerr
crazy.
and he almost won that race too. Nagoose just
Should've.
got him.
Oh yeah, that was like crazy close.
It was a crazy race, and that was the year that Big Ten went off. You won the 10K for the NCAA.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
and
Mason?
It
that
was
was the year
Opsa
before.
Lee
Oh, yeah,
and
Opsa,
then
sorry.
Isaiah Harris.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it was a pretty crazy year for Big Ten.
Yeah, I'm
and
be
like,
honest, I'd never
since
heard
then,
of you when you won that race.
Yeah, no one did.
Seriously?
Well, dude,
No one did.
I
Man.
still talk
what
about
would I have
the
been, like,
Big
what would I
Ten
have known him
I don't know,
championship.
just because he's
Yeah.
Australian.
Like 2 weeks before.
I didn't even know he was
you
Australian
and
until that race.
Kiprotich.
Well, Kiprotich and I, we ran.
You guys ran like
um,
50 point.
Yeah,
like,
we ran 50 point to close it, and it was a pretty crazy race because it was back and forth between the two of us. But after that race with Kerr, we really didn't have a lot of races like
well, yeah,
against each
there's a
other.
question. Have you had another head-to-head battle since that race?
The Olympics was like the only place where I've raced Kerr, and
Yeah, it's not really head-to-head.
it's not really head to head because if you're racing someone to qualify for the next round, you're not really racing against them. You're racing against the field to get into those. Like if the field is top 6 to go to the next round and you finish 6th, you've done your job. It doesn't matter if you're 1st or 6th really. And what it matters is getting to the final and then performing, and that's what Kerr did. I had a good final, just not great. Like I was pretty mentally cooked, but this will be a race that Kerr and I will be going into head to head. I feel like more or less, but there's
Just
still
going
a
for the
field.
win.
The field's still fantastic. There's going to be people there that can win it. It's not just going to be, you know what I mean? Like it's still going to be great. So
Yeah, there's a lot of good people,
but
especially
Kerr's
indoors.
confidence,
Crazy
that's
stuff
good. You
happens.
know, that
Yeah.
means it's going to be like a pretty hard hitter race, and it'll be something that's exciting for the fans to watch.
Yeah, and Eric Sawinski is pacing, and he's like so reliable.
He's the most reliable pacer.
Do you
I
know what the pace is?
154 for the 800, so they're looking at 350
Okay.
close.
How do you think it's going to play out?
How do I think it's going to play out?
Yeah.
Personally, I think it's going to go out quick and it's going to stay quick, and then it's going to go and close pretty hard.
It'll be interesting because
I think the winner.
Great summary.
That's the summary.
and it's
though.
all going to be
It's
Ollie at the front doing that.
It's going to be quick. It's going to stay quick, and it's going to go quicker. Because I feel like whoever wins this race, the way it's going to be run with the people in it, they're going to have to break through 50 to win.
Who would
I can
take
see
it?
that.
Like, Sawinski drops off?
I think it would be either me or Kerr.
Yeah.
I don't see Clayton taking it. I don't see Ingles taking it. I think they would rely on looking at us, seeing where we are, and then position themselves to give them the best shot to beat us. But Kerr and I think, are confident enough that we can hold.
You guys have both established yourself as dominant front runners. You just did it like from the gun, and Kerr kind of has that trademark like 800, 600 kick where he just like, he runs that third lap, or I guess third lap on an outdoor track so strong and seems to break the field. But yeah, and if I know anything about Ollie Hall, I know that if Kerr is at the front running quick, Ollie's going to be right on his tail no matter how fast he runs.
Oh, it's going to be either way either. It's going to be either I'm in the front and he's behind me, or he's in the front and I'm behind him.
I think
either way, we're going to be hopefully in that position.
Battling.
That's the hope. You don't know what's going to happen, but that's like kind of what I think will happen.
That'd be exciting.
So
I think whoever has the lead with a couple to go has the advantage. I mean, that's always the case indoors, but even more so because you're both big dudes, and Josh has won 2 NCAA miles and shown that he knows how to race
he's
indoors.
got an engine too. So.
All you have to do is get to the front, and it's so hard to get past.
That's a pretty
You have to run
typical
so
indoor
much faster,
thing.
yeah.
Like where it's like, it's people battle more on like the third last or the second last lap. Yeah, just because they know that in that last 200, if you're leading, like that's just so nice. And that's how it was. Were you leading with 200 to go when you won NCAA indoor?
Yep, but
Yeah.
Ollie was leading with 350 to go and let me go past. Sorry to bring that up.
No, so what? Yeah, he went past me, and then I tried to pass him.
If you let someone go by, it's so hard to get
I
around
tried to
them
pass
again.
him on the bend, couldn't get him, and then we got to the straight, and I like just died.
Yeah.
And
Because that season, that's how it was between Grant and I. It was like we were pretty evenly matched, and I think it came down to generally whoever was leading with 200 to go ended up winning the race.
Yeah,
Like, it was
and
like
it
that
was you
every
at the
time.
championships, but he got you at
He-
Millrose,
yeah, he beat
right?
me at
By
Millrose.
being ahead.
Exactly. So, like in indoors, that's so huge, and probably even more huge when you're running quicker. Like the paces you're running in a mile, it's so hard to go around. So, yeah, that's gonna be exciting to watch. As we said previously, Millrose. It's weird that it's already here. Like it came so quick, and it's weird it's so early. Kind of like it's essentially the first indoor race of the season for a lot of people, but it is literally one of the biggest meets of the year, especially from a U.S. standpoint. So it's going to be very exciting to see how it all plays out.
We could talk about one of the things that we're probably missing, is I'd say Yared had a good shot at the collegiate record if he was going to run,
Yeah,
which he was supposed to, but
freaking Notre Dame, man.
like if he can run 354 on his own for 159, he can run, what's the collegiate record? 52 point, right? Is that
collegiate
just,
record in the mile.
what
Yeah,
is it?
it?
Oh no, it's
350
350 point now.
Cooper T.
Edge
No, it's
Cooper
Cooper.
T,
Oh, it's
yeah.
Cooper
I
T.
forgot about that.
350 at Arkansas.
But I'd say,
Yeah.
I mean,
time trial
I'd
with
still say
Oregon.
Yared
So
could probably-
that record is not easy to break.
No.
But if
But-
anyone's going to do it, I mean,
Yared,
Yared, just run 334
No,
solo.
I don't doubt Yared could give it a crack. I was thinking that you were thinking of the 3K, because I think Yared could actually break the 3K collegiate
Both.
record.
I think you can do both.
Well, I think
Yeah.
he is going to try.
Yared is so talented.
That
Yeah.
kid is, and he's back too. So we've seen that. He's back.
But yeah, so we heard that the reason, because I don't know if this is like public knowledge or not, but the reason that Yared isn't able to run Millrose, unfortunately, is because Notre Dame has a school policy for their team that due to COVID, they're only allowed to travel for one meet apart from championship meets. And so
Hashtag not good for the
yeah,
sport.
that's hashtag
Yeah,
not for
hashtag
the
not good for
and
the
they have
sport.
to travel as a whole team, obviously. So it's not like Yared can go somewhere on his own and everyone else can go somewhere else. So at least I don't think. I could be wrong on that.
There's no way Notre Dame doesn't have the resources to get him tested. Make sure it's like a easy way to
It's
get
just
to
a
those
policy,
meets.
yeah.
Yeah, but like
It
you put
must,
up
just
that
be for
policy.
like, it must be for like the other teams that go to one place together,
Yeah.
and somehow it has to also apply to the track team.
It's frustrating though, because
It
like
always
it's
happens
annoying.
like
he's
that in
missing out on
NCAA.
opportunities that he could really, seize. But
He
Can you
can
imagine
see
he just signed pro and then went?
Yeah, he's like,
He's
yeah,
like,
screw
"Nah, I'm
this,
done."
man. I want to race Millrose. I'm going to go pro.
Yeah.
Well, it is sad when you say that because this is literally a race. This is the type of race where you could have a performance that would have a real impact on your pro signing opportunities. Because it is like, this is the biggest stage. Like, you look at all the other events that are on, we haven't even talked about like the sprints or anything, but this is like literally some of the best, like
Yeah.
across the board. So it is a big stage. So it is sad that he's not able to compete. But Yared's kind of that type of guy who his whole career he's been like doing his own thing a little bit. You know, he's always like for example, popping off and running these crazy solo fast times. Like, didn't he run?
Did he run 4 his ACCs?
Yeah,
he ran the
that
collegiate record
conference.
at conference.
That was also in the heat. That was in the
Yeah.
heat.
In the heats, yeah.
That
There
wasn't
was
in the
somewhere in
final.
the south.
No, sorry, just like in the heats, like preliminary
Oh,
rounds.
Yeah, he was not. It was not in the
Yeah.
final.
And also, I think it was like, I don't think the conditions looked bad.
Yeah.
I
No, they
remember.
weren't good. It was windy, I think.
So that's classic Yared Nagusta. So
That was
if we know anything
sad.
from the past, he's going to find a way to get it done still.
The goose is loose, as they say.
Yeah. He's
Alright.
like, he also is someone who Ollie has some nice back and forth with because we would go to Notre Dame and race the DMR, and they, ever since Yared has been there, they've obviously like done the DMR because it's just a fun team thing to do, and they've been able to win it. And he finds a way in that last, he looks so bad, and then he finds a way in the last 50 meters to rally and like close and outkick some of the best. Like, I guess Cole's probably the only person that he hasn't outkicked. Everyone else that's like known to be good kickers, he outkicks. And like, I have a funny story actually, because we are in the same conference for cross country, and he was doing the same thing where with like in the last 2K of the race, he looked so bad. I swear he threw up while he was running. I've never seen anyone else do this, like mid cross country race. Like, he was doing these weird movements, and I'm pretty sure he was throwing up. If you're listening, Yared, like, can you let us know what actually happened? But then he still rallied and like finished really well. Just
He's tough,
crazy.
man. He's tough.
He's so tough. So that's the Millrose preview. Gonna be so exciting. We'll be watching it, and then wish these boys good luck because they're about to go crush it. So that's gonna be really exciting. But speaking of indoor races, one question I did want to ask the pod is, what do you like more? This is a typical question. What do you like more, indoors or outdoors? Because it's actually a pretty hard question. Like, personally, outdoors is obviously where it's at. That's like Olympics, World Champs is outdoors. But indoors has something special about it. Like, for me, the atmosphere and the environment of indoors is almost impossible to replicate in outdoors. So it's like really exciting. I probably prefer indoors, honestly.
Yeah, you're definitely onto something there. Like, I actually feel like as like a general spectator, if you were going to take them to a meet to show them like how cool track and field was, like, it would be an indoor race. Like,
I agree.
the memory that comes ahead, besides Millrose, which obviously is like electric, the video that comes ahead, like, my mind is when Galen ran 350 at BU. Like, the audio on the camera is like getting like static because it's just like people are going crazy.
You get so loud. You get people like banging on the bank and everything.
It's
right.
nuts, man. And it doesn't take that many people for it to get that loud.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like you got to fill a stadium.
No, like you can have probably, I don't know, 3,000 people, and it feels like, and like outdoors that'd be the equivalent of like 80,000
Yeah.
people. Like, it's electric. And also now it's nice because the tracks are at the point where they're probably faster than outdoor tracks. Like, well, similar, but always good conditions. So they're more reliable. So you can go have these amazing performances. So it's like, it's pretty hard to beat, honestly. But obviously outdoors is always going to remain as like,
That's
where
going to be
the big
like
ones.
the pinnacle and like the standard for running, but indoors is a lot of fun.
I think fan engagement wise, indoors is fantastic. Outdoors, though, if you're
I think you learn
if you're an athlete, a professional athlete, or an athlete that competes in this sport, outdoors is definitely a special place in your heart for, because that's where it is. That's where, you grew up, you watch people run fast times, you watch people win Olympic medals and world championships. Like, outdoors is like where you want to be. But the fan engagement in indoors, the way it's kind of set up, is really great, and it's good for our sport, I think. And getting
you can really learn
that
how
kind
to
of
race
excitement.
indoors though as well.
Yeah,
Like,
indoors
that
is
was
a
a big
different
thing.
situation.
I mean, you guys actually, like, you would run fast meets indoors and have like big conferences with big athletes, but like in the big sky, we would go to Pocatello, Idaho, and
Great
race
town.
on a wooden track at altitude. That's the least
sounds
sexy
terrible.
thing in the world. But all you do is like you learn how to race because you're on a wooden track and you have to like swap out the spikes to put in needles, otherwise you're like sliding around.
Damn.
And it's like all about just like passing people and holding people off.
Yeah.
That's an
And
interesting
you get good at racing like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and like now the indoor has like exploded where it's like, yeah, I mean when you got kids running 350 indoors, like college kids, it's like, yeah, that's going to be impressive indoors or outdoors. But out Wisconsin, we would always say like Big Tens seems like the biggest, indoors seems like the biggest thing in the world, like when you're in indoor season, but as soon as you hit outdoors, like no one cares about indoors.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of, it might be changing a bit, but that's the perspective that we always had, to try not make indoors seem bigger than it is, because it's not like you wouldn't really ever want to do anything to sacrifice your outdoor season like in indoors. Like if you were gonna like chill for, and you see this with a lot of pros, if you're gonna like be risking like some injury stuff or whatever, like a lot of pros will just be like, all right, I'm not racing indoors.
Yeah, I think that, Ollie, I think what you said makes a lot of sense with like the fan engagement indoors, but like when it comes to business, it's like you want to make outdoor world champs, you know, you want to make the Olympics, you want to set your PRs probably on outdoor track. I don't know if you guys like let me ask you this, like would you count your indoor PR as like your like overall PR, or do you have to like specify you did it indoors?
That's the thing. My indoor PRs are faster than my outdoor PRs.
Both of them?
Yep, 3:32 indoors is still faster than my 3:32 outdoors. And my 5K time is way faster than my outdoor 5K. And it's the same with 3K is kind of more run on indoor.
Yeah, it's more of an indoor event.
But I think...
That's a good point.
Yeah, do I count it overall? Well, for that distance, that's the fastest I've run, but I always make sure it says indoors. I would never say that's my PR.
Well, you're lucky you can just say 3:32 and you're not
lying.
You're not lying. You're not lying
but
either way.
I do think that like for the 5K, people
same.
ask like, oh, what's your best 5K time? I would say I did an indoor 5K and it's 13:09. I wouldn't say 13:09 is my best 5K time, because I think I haven't run enough 5Ks, number one, to kind of say that it's different. Like, I've felt difference indoor and outdoors. And number two, like, not saying that indoors is slower or faster, because people have said that indoors is slower, which I disagree. I think it's about the same, but the conditions always are going to be perfect. So I would say I'd always put it indoors or out. Now I'm saying like, yeah, if I ran sub 13 outdoors, I'd say still outdoors. If I ran sub 13 indoors, I'd say indoors. I wouldn't say overall.
Yeah,
I'd state where it was
I would say overall. I would still count it. Like it's.
I don't think I'd specify. I don't think I would be bothered to specify.
The only thing I would add to what you're saying is like you're talking about events that like are standardized across both indoor and outdoor, but it's like if you're talking about like the 3K and the mile, it like kind of goes without saying. So it's like the 3K, it's like no question, because I mean I guess people sometimes run the 3K outdoors, but it's like that seems like an area you don't have to specify because people assume like, oh, we probably did it indoors.
Like that's competed like world indoors is a 3K.
Yeah. So, but like the 5K and 15, the 15 especially is weird because it's like barely ever run indoors. But
I guess it is now. I guess it is run a little bit now, but I guess it's just because World Indoors there's a 15. It'd be cool if it was a mile at World Indoors.
Well, yeah, that would be cool.
I think that'd be sick.
That would be cool.
It's like, and that's we're all metric guys.
Yeah.
But we'd even want to see the mile indoors. The mile indoors is sick. Like it's like, I don't know. I think it's awesome.
It's also keeping that tradition of like our sport being like a mile. Like the mile is such a traditional event.
Mm-hmm.
To keep it into like a world championship would be pretty sick.
Yeah, no matter what happens, the 4-minute barrier is going to be something special in the sport. So it is good that all these kids get these opportunities now to do it indoors. I mean, I don't even want to know how many kids in the collegiate system are going to break 4 this year, but it's going to be stupid.
I think I saw someone tweet about it the other day that it was like 357 was already like 14th or something.
Seriously?
Yeah, that's like definitely a half made up stat. Like I'm not, I can't confirm that.
We throw out a lot of half made up stats on this show. So
yeah, we use a lot of speculation on this show.
You're right at home with us.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
You don't actually have to know any
My
facts
job is to
on this
present
show.
A half made up stat as confidently as possible. Like
that's how you deliver.
That's Ollie's freaking playbook right there.
You're in my playground now.
I took one public speaking class freshman year, like easy A class, and it was like what I learned is it doesn't matter if you know what you're talking about. It matters if you look like you know what you're talking about. So how you present it.
I don't know if we do that as well, but we could work on it. Because I think if you watch me talk about certain things, when you could tell this guy's talking complete garbage. But anyway.
we'll leave that up to the listeners.
Yeah,
we'll leave it up to them. But that's kind of it with our indoor talk for today, right?
Yep. I think we can move on to.
We can do a deep dive on Ben Flanagan.
Deep dive.
Oh.
Deep dive in.
Let's get personal.
So we have Ben Flanagan on, which is a very nice coincidence that he's here because, we did just talk about him last week. He's in town because we're doing some super secret on testing, shoe stuff.
Exciting stuff.
Exciting stuff, yeah.
Classified.
Yeah.
Super secret classified.
I guess, who knows, maybe some of that stuff will be seen very soon when this podcast comes out. Maybe not. I guess we can't really say anything, but we can say, very exciting stuff.
All we're saying is pay attention.
Pay attention.
Pay attention.
But, so Ben Ben and I in particular go way back in terms of racing because we actually first raced each other in 2013. Can you guys believe that? That's a long
It's almost
time
9
ago.
years. That's
In
9
high
years.
school?
Yeah.
Bydgoszcz, Poland.
Bydgoszcz, Poland, World Junior Cross Country. Isn't that crazy?
World Junior Cross.
Yeah.
9 years ago.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. I remember meeting like
Who
you
got the
guys,
dub there?
the Aussie team.
Wow. It's a very good question because I actually beat Ben, but Ben fell over in like the last 100 meters.
I ate
What?
shit, like fucking
The
like
last 100.
like
And he was
ate
ahead of me.
dirt. Like there was,
He was ahead of me.
it was a crazy steep downhill into the
Dude.
finish, and I was like, I'm gonna risk it all, and
Bomb this down.
dude, I like barrel rolled like ooh like in the crowd, and then like in my last step, I remember Morgan just being like, oop, gotcha.
Yeah, which it's kind of. What do you remember? What you ended up finishing?
I was okay. I got a story about this because I know exactly how I finished. Because Aaron Finn was on the U.S. team, and I just I don't know if I just signed in Michigan or was like about to, but I like talked to her because she was like committed to Michigan. It's a big deal because she was like a high school stud, and she came up to me. She's like, "How'd the race go?" I was like, "Oh, I ran the best race of my life. Like, what about you?" She's like, "It wasn't great." I was like, "What place were you?" She's like, 34th. What about you? I was like, 34th.
That's the worst. That's the worst.
Yeah, so entirely different. And
People
you know,
like
like Matt McClintock was the top like guy from any country that was in Africa. Like, because
Yeah.
usually there's like, I mean, there's 6 guys.
It's a tough race.
Yeah, 6 guys from Kenya, Uganda, Ethiopia.
Yep.
A couple of Asian, like Japanese guys.
The
usually
Japanese
up there.
guys are really good in juniors.
Yep, and
So
then
it's competitive.
so the top guy in North America or the Commonwealth, North America / Commonwealth was 20th.
Yeah.
And then so you were 33rd. I was 34th.
Yeah, so
One
it was
place?
like, yeah, it was like, it was
Holy
legit. It was
shit.
some good racing.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, if you know what Junior Cross, like, a lot of people say it is like the hardest race in the world just because, yeah, you're racing, like, literally in our race was Hagos Gebrewet, who had run 12:47 the year before. And we're like, at that point, I'd never run a track 5K. I was probably a 14:35K runner, and I'm
Yeah.
racing a 12:47 guy. So it is like ridiculous race. So to come in the 30s is generally pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. So
But- And so we had that, and then we both went off to college in the U.S., and Ben went to frickin' Michigan.
yeah,
Hate
took a
that
visit to
school.
Wisconsin,
Do you like it?
dude. So I can talk about this now because it doesn't matter. But like I've loved my Wisconsin visit. Like
Nice.
it was I had a really good time there. Like it definitely came down to like the finances for me, and I had a better deal on the table with Michigan. But dude, it was sick because like Mo was there, Reed Connor, Maverick Darling. Like there was some
The
cool
good old
guys there.
days.
Yeah, the good
The
old
good old
days.
days.
Yeah,
Then we-
Before the dark days of
Yeah,
us.
then we
Before
went
the
there,
dark
all
days.
downhill since
Before the
then.
dark days of the Australians having to come in.
Well,
Yeah.
Maliki was there too, who was like just he was
Yeah,
like kind
he
of
was an
leading the
absolute
charge with you
starting
guys.
cross,
Dude,
yeah.
Maliki was
Yeah,
sick.
he was in there. He was in the World Junior Cross.
He was, yeah.
Yeah.
There was you'd be like, if you look back at those results, it'd
Yeah.
be pretty funny to
There's
look
always
at.
those big names.
Some good Brits too. I've
Yeah.
seen people like not long after, well, probably years later, that I'd see it that are still running pro for like from different countries, and I'm like, hey, like we met when we were like 16 at World Champs or whatever. It's
Yeah.
pretty fun.
Ollie, did you run junior world cross?
Nope.
Any World Juniors?
The first Australian team I ever made was Tokyo. Junior or otherwise.
I don't even know how you
Okay.
made world cross, but I sucked back
Did
then,
New
so-
Zealand send a team?
I tried.
I'm sure they
clue.
did.
Yeah.
Jordy, I
Actually-
tried.
You tried?
I tried. I wasn't good enough.
I mean, I'm
crap.
sure I wasn't good enough, but I don't even know how I would have gone.
I think there was certain years though, wasn't there?
Yeah,
like, it was
so
every 2 years.
World
or
Cross is
something.
every 2 years. The New Zealand must have like a trial race that they do.
There'll be nationals, I'm sure.
It wouldn't be, well, probably not nationals because it's such a different time of year.
True.
We prioritized it a lot, especially when I went to college. Like kids in like my teammates from the U.S. like they didn't even know like anything about like the world qualifying system.
It's not big in the U.S.
No, it wasn't
Definitely
big.
not.
So yeah, but like in Canada, it was like all I wanted to do.
Australia,
was,
it's a
like,
big
get
deal.
the kit.
It's everyone knows about it in Australia.
They do.
But were you even like that into the sport at that time, George? Was it one of those things where like
I don't think I probably
Yeah.
knew world cross existed.
Yeah, exactly. You were just like, I just run.
Yeah,
I'm
I
just-
didn't.
I just
didn't-
run and look after sheep. Not much else going on. Because that's how it is for a lot of kids.
The only
feel
reason I
like.
knew the NCAA existed was because my brother ran there,
Oh, where'd he go?
Villanova.
Oh, he was a Nova guy.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to go to Villanova pretty bad too, but
Yeah, I wanted to look. Dude, they
A lot
didn't
of New
even look at
Zealanders
us.
and Australians went to Villanova back in the day.
Yeah, good Canadians.
Still, I
Yeah,
mean, still there's a bunch of Australians there. But at
Yeah.
the time, my brother was on the team with like 3 other New Zealanders and like a bunch of Australians.
that's how it happens though, man. Like you get a pipeline to a certain area.
Oh, yeah.
Like a lot of
Providence and Villanova have like a pipeline straight to Australia.
Cam
It's
Levin's
that
like
Irish
single-handedly built the pipeline to southern Utah. Like now they get Canadians every year. But
True.
it's pretty funny to see, but it makes sense, I guess. Like people
Yeah.
like to see, like I was really interested in Iona for that reason. All my like buddies were committing there, and it's like being an international athlete going to the U.S. for school.
Iona loves the national. Well, surprisingly, the Australian pipeline to NAU after Dave McNeil wasn't as strong. I mean,
I think that was still just like too long ago.
Maybe
you
it
know?
was.
I think it was
just
just a
too
little
far
bit.
back.
Now
like
it's
a couple
like
of time NCAA champ and Olympian, but like no other Australians went there for a while.
I think that was. I think what it was is that was just a little bit before like the big internet era. So the information wasn't as like he wasn't a star like current NCAA runners are stars. You know,
yeah.
it's just like just a little bit before that time. So I think that makes sense. But yeah, then Ben went to Michigan and like
yeah, fuck, we got on a tangent.
Yeah,
there.
we did.
My
I don't
bad.
know. There's so much we could talk about. Like
That was good.
Skip through the Michigan stuff. Like good back and forth. What did you guys think of Wisconsin?
I was wondering this was gonna come up. Like, I mean, obviously, like
Because we
like,
hated Michigan.
Yeah, we hated you guys. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So we wanted you guys.
It was kind of bred into the system where, like, if you went to Michigan, you hated Wisconsin. If you went to Wisconsin, you hated Michigan.
Well,
because of the
that's-
rivalry.
Hearing what college teams think of other college teams is hilarious.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Well, because in every other like any person that knows like the Big Ten rivalries, it's like Ohio State and Michigan State. But like for us, like it was you guys, like
Yeah.
100%. And I remember talking to like a kid from Indiana once, like that came to campus, like he was dating a Michigan girl or something. He was like asking us about cross. He's like, yeah, like we're super excited to compete against you guys. I'm like, dude, Indiana, like.
Yeah, we don't care about
we
you.
don't care about you guys.
We're
Like,
looking at the top.
all we care about is beating Wisconsin. That's it. And that was probably the year we lost to Indiana. But,
Yeah, they did win 1 year in there. They snuck in. And got the dub.
But dude, that first year, man, when it was the chance to like break the Wisconsin streak, because keep in mind, like when I first got there, you guys were on like a 13-year conference win streak. So for us, it was like about like breaking Wisconsin's streak.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And
naturally
then-
that came with some bad blood
Yeah. So then the streak did obviously get broken, but then
by Indiana.
by Indiana. But then Wisconsin went back to its winning ways. But Michigan did get a win somewhere in there in the
Yeah.
last.
We had 2 by the time I was done.
Okay.
So-
So yeah, it was pretty even actually.
Yeah, we got a couple in there.
You guys had a lot of good runners, obviously, like Mason Furlick, yourself, Tony Smorgowitz.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of random names right
No,
now.
that's all right. Those are bang on for sure. And yeah, for us, like, it's pretty interesting. Like, I was looking at the cross country results this year, and like, I mean, there was times where Wisconsin, like, you guys put up like 30 points, and
Yeah.
like the times
We had a good year this
won
year.
were like about in the 60 points. Like, it was like we had to definitely strike when like we had an opportunity, and like usually we only won by like 10 points against you guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are good races.
You want to hear a funny story? Just to add more to the beef. One time, Mason Furlick was in Madison. I don't know if you would have heard about this, but
Maybe.
so I was friends with Mason's younger brother who went to Wisconsin,
Oh yeah.
Nolan, and like I didn't see Mason at all because we're like friendly. I didn't see him when he was in Madison, but with I think maple syrup, he wrote on the stairs to my apartment, "Go Blue."
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, I was like,
How did that go over?
I was just like, dude, now I got to clean this up. Why'd you
Yeah.
do that?
It was an
Fuck
asshole
Michigan.
move,
I was
for
like,
sure.
fuck Michigan. But yeah.
Dude, so oh my god, yeah, like we'd be all over your guys' results, and yeah, I made for some great racing. But like the thing that I was so impressed with you guys is like you guys always had like a national caliber stud.
That definitely
Always.
helps.
Yeah, like someone that was not only gonna like likely win Big Tens, but was gonna be like top 10 in the country.
Yeah.
And we had that with Mason. But like that was pretty hard to beat. And like a lot of guys, like you guys showed up. Like I'm thinking of like Alex Van Voorhees, like guys like that, like guys that came out at Big Tens, like.
Yeah, we had some guys that really performed well there.
So not to talk you guys up too much.
No, keep talking. We love it.
Yeah, but
Feel the ego.
Yeah, let's
feel the
talk
ego.
about your individual journey because you were always really good, but then obviously your final year, you won NCAA 10K, which was like it's funny looking back on that now because it is like that was 2018, right?
yeah,
So it was a little bit ago, but I remember like that was so exciting, and there was the whole thing where you what'd you say about your mom? Something?
oh yeah,
Where's
where's
my
my
mom?
mom thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great.
That still comes up to this day, dude.
That was
I
a
mean,
very entertaining race.
Yeah.
It was a bummer because we were watching and Matt and Tyler paced that like whole thing. I think
Oh,
they were
yeah.
like kind of working together at the front, like trying to make it fast. And I think they finished maybe 4th and 5th or something.
yeah, they were because Dylan Maggard was 3rd, so they were 4th and 5th.
Yeah.
But Dude, I mean, for how much you and I, we competed, and, like, you guys, waxed me quite a few races. And, like, obviously, like, I got drastically better in that last year in the summer. But I can only imagine, like, from your guys' perspective, when I won that race, you guys were probably like, this fucking guy? Like, you just wanted to.
The one thing I was impressed, though, because I remember I was eating chicken tenders. I was doing something. And I remember watching that last 400, because it was between you and
Kiprop.
Vincent
Yeah,
Kiprop, yeah.
And Kiprop was a guy that was probably more favored to win.
Yeah.
Like, and you were not a guy that was favored to win by, like, a standard of, like, who was looking in the race, like, who are you going to put your money on kind of thing.
Yeah.
And when you came through in that last 400, I remember thinking in the back of my head, where the fuck is this last 400 coming from Flanagan?
Yeah,
like,
never
literally
seen that.
never seen it in Big Tens, never seen it in any race. He's never challenged it, but all of a sudden he pulls it out when he needs to, and I was like, you bloody beauty. I loved it. Even though, obviously, you're wearing that Michigan top, and I fucking hate that, but the way you ran that race and the way that came through, because, I mean, I had a similar kind of ending to my 1500. I was like, that's freaking sick for the Big Ten, because it showed that, like, people... I mean, the Pac-12 is obviously, like, very well hyped.
Yeah.
Big
like
Sky.
for being, Big Sky for, like, being the national top guys, and Big Ten coming through and having a great, NCAAs was like, that's sick. That was cool as like a conference kind of thing.
Yeah. I guess what I'll say is, like, to keep it short, because I could talk about this. I could talk about myself all day.
Hey, join the club. That's why we have this.
Yeah.
Can't we all?
But, I was really good in high school. Like, I was, I made national teams. Like, I was a 408 kid, which was good at one point.
Back in the good old days.
817. Like, I was really good, and, like, I was highly recruited, and, like, I, like, had a pretty tough transition to college. Like, I was, like everything that Justin Knight did was, like, how I envisioned my college experience going. Like, right away, I was, like, going to win or, like, challenge for NCAAs. Like, that's how it was supposed to go in my head. So it's, like, I kind of got to the same end destination, but it was, like, a freaking whirlwind in a grind getting there. But it was interesting because, like, I came out the other side as, like, a big underdog when in, like, entering college, I was like, this is, like, definitely the trajectory I want to be on.
Yeah, in your head, you're like, oh, I'll go win an NCAA title. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
But there was, like, moments in my career where, like I was, like, it was, like, I had to really reevaluate what I want to do because, like, breaking 14 minutes was, like, really freaking hard. And then my last year, through, like, some weird events of just, like, trying some new things, getting hurt, like, limiting my mileage, like, all of a sudden, like, things just, like, clicked. And I was, like, out of nowhere, I was just, like, an entirely different athlete. So it was pretty wild. The trajectory was very strange.
Yeah. Well, we love happy endings, so.
We do love happy
I remember
endings.
talking to you at
That's what she
Millrose,
said.
man. Yeah, we love happy endings. I remember talking to you at Millrose, and, like, you're like, I remember talking to you about it, and it really put into perspective of how much of a change it was, because you're like, dude, like, holy shit, like, what happened? Like, because you and I spent most of our career, you were just, like, absolutely dusting me, which you did at Millrose as well. But it really, like, showed me, like, God damn, that last, like, semester was very different than, like, most of my college experience.
Yeah,
But-
it's weird how that works out. Because, I mean, I even feel the same about mine, not to talk about myself, but
Please,
it's like,
I've done enough.
but, like, I mean, if I didn't, like, have a good fifth year, like, I won all my NCAA titles in my fifth year. So it's like, yeah, it's like
Dude.
a lot can change in that final year.
You went from, like, I mean, your fifth year was, like, you were up as, like, one of the most successful collegiate years ever.
Particularly in 1 year, cross-country title, indoor titles, outdoor title. Like, you cap off doing everything in
Yeah.
1 year that
That's
most
right.
people barely do.
Yeah, that's enough about that. Back to
But
Ben.
that's right. Like,
Back
it's
to
just
Ben.
like, it's a cool thing to see. Like, what your destination might be a bit different to others, but your end result, you got to where you wanted to go. So.
Yeah, as long as you keep at it, it can definitely happen. So,
Yeah, that's kind of the main takeaway, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like,
and now it's like you've been a pro for a few years and you're kind of going through, I don't know, I guess it is transition. Like, you move in groups and stuff, and you also, was that your first half marathon?
it was my second. I ran a
Second.
very low-key one. I ran 63 minutes in
Okay.
Hardyville, South Carolina,
Nice.
about a year ago. So this is
Okay.
my first, like, crack at, like, running fast from the gun.
Yeah, because, like, as a pro, you've had some big performances, but, like, I think most people that just look at your pro career, they kind of would see you almost as a road runner, just because, like, what you've done at Falmouth. Like, you seem to be able to go to these, like, it's always a big race, and you, like, turn up, man, and you, like, beat some really good guys.
I
So-
feel like, you see Ben on a start list of a random distance road race, you're like, dude, probably could see Ben winning this one.
Yeah. We'd always
I
say
don't know
that.
how far this race is, but I'm pretty sure Ben is
Yeah,
going to win.
if you see Ben when it's a road race, like, oh, he's probably going to be up there to
Manchester,
win.
no idea how far that race is, but Ben's probably going to win.
I didn't either. It's like 4.7 miles. It's weird, but yeah. Well, I appreciate that,
What is it about the road races, man?
dude. Get rid of the milers mostly. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, obviously Falmouth, like way back when in 2018, like that was kind of where like that was my first like big pro win on the roads, and because I didn't have a lot of success in cross country in college, but yeah, the roads have like just like kind of catered to me pretty well. I feel pretty comfortable, and I mean honestly, it's like kind of the seasons line up really well with my like peaks, I guess. So it's like Falmouth is at the middle of August, like. It's a pretty hard time for a lot of guys to either like finish up a long track season or starting off like a marathon build, and it's like definitely a pretty good opportunity that if you're fit, like you can get a jump on some guys for sure. Manchester's similar in the fall, but
Is Manchester Thanksgiving?
yeah, American Thanksgiving Day. So, but I don't really know honestly. Like I like love the track. I've got like such an ego when it comes to the track. Like I'm trying like so hard to not be a road guy. Like I want to like prove myself on the track because it's like so quantitative and like measurable compared to other athletes. But I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that like a mile into a road race, I just feel so much more comfortable than a mile into a 5K.
Dude, roads is cool, man.
It's fun, man. The environment's sick. Like it's something I would encourage every track athlete to do. Because it's so different. Like, it's really interesting. It's a very different type of racing, and like the energy you get from like just having random participants in the field and like running by people and like the crowds. It's like it's really cool.
Yeah, not to get to like I don't know, but it's like something about it is like, you know, we do all these track races, and obviously we're all track runners, and it's like you just go run around a freaking track. But road racing, man, that's racing. It's
Yeah,
like,
I guess so.
It's like you're just out there on the streets, especially when you're doing off distances, and then it doesn't become about times and stuff. It is just pure racing, and like end of the day, like that's what we love.
Yeah, it's sick. And like you're 100% right. And it's like the older I've gotten and the more I've gone to like Falmouth and learned about the history, it's like cool to like hear about like Bill Rogers and Frank Shorter racing each other on the same courses. And stuff like that. But yeah, it's pretty funny. I guess at the end of the day, like I really don't know why I've had more success on the roads, but now it's about time for me to like give my head a shake and be like, all right, like it's time to like read into the data and start like moving my career in that direction, because clearly it's like where I'll likely be the most successful.
Yeah, like this is the most obvious question, but marathon, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean I have to. Like I definitely, I can't wait to like run in majors, and like the hype that goes into a marathon is pretty cool, because it's like no matter how fit you are, it's like still a pretty big question mark like how the day is going to turn out, and you only get a couple of shots a year. So being around Colin and Marty has been pretty cool to like see that type of prep, but it's going to take a while for me to get there. I don't run enough right now. Like I only run 75-80 miles, and I'm going to need a lot of time to like just get the miles in my legs to be able to run that fast for 2 hours.
So you don't have that on the calendar yet?
Not yet. I got to get a better half in. Like, I was happy. Like, 61:38 wasn't bad. But, you know, I lost some guys that I definitely feel like, you know, I can be competitive with. And, like...
Go grab that Canadian record?
I got to get the Canadian record, which I fully intend to take a shot at again. You know, hopefully break 61 minutes while I'm at it. So, you know, with some more innovations in the product as well, some of the stuff we're looking at.
Classified.
Yeah. Stay, what'd you guys say before? Pay attention.
Pay attention, super classified.
Yeah.
Pay attention.
But I'm excited to take those bad boys for a spin.
Yeah, that's going to be sweet. And then the other big aspect of it for you is the move back to Ann Arbor with the very nice track club.
That's a great name. Speaking of names for track clubs, which we've been doing a lot of lately.
United Airlines could take some notes.
I'm a big fan of
From
that.
Very Nice Track Club.
That's funny.
You know, UTI Track Club, Union Athletics Club needs to take some notes from that. Because, like, that seems like an organic name for a group like that, you know? It's a good name. No,
it's just isn't it just Ronnie saying very nice all the time?
That's all it is. Ronnie is, like, through all the generations, like, he would say to his athletes, very nice. Like, that's what he says on the track all the time.
You see, that's real. That's, like, so authentic. Like,
and you can get behind that. I can't get behind United Airlines.
Dude, they got
Union,
service.
UTI, whatever you call them. I just can't get behind that. Like, the athletes in that group are, like, sick, but then you have a name like that. Okay, we've dissed them too much, but it's a great name. It's a cool group. You're moving back to Michigan.
Let me put it this way. My take on it would be there's a difference between the members of the team making the name and, like, a marketing team
Yeah.
like maybe making a name
Definitely.
or
Yeah.
like you can see
You
like
can
some
tell. You can
differences.
tell when you see it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's cool. And the Very Nice Track Club's actually been around for a long time, believe it or not.
Yeah, Will Lear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will
Like way
Lear.
back.
Craig Hoffer.
Oh,
Craig
You guys-
Hoffer.
Hey.
Craig Hoffer, dude.
I think he's like technically still in it. I feel like
Is he?
every now and then he posts a photo from Australia and like the Very Nice Track Club will repost it.
I don't know if you guys know like the Lost Boys, like their kind of
Yeah.
vibe, where it's like if you don't get it, that means you get it. Like Very Nice Track Club's kind of closer to that. It's like you're
It's
kind
like
of
collective.
anyone can kind of be a part of it.
That's
If you
cool.
Craig Huffer's still a Very Nice Track Club, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He's my teammate now. So it's a pretty funny group of like individuals that like, yeah, they kind of take the edge off a bit and they just want to run fast, and it's a cool environment that people just really trust. And yeah, I'm excited to get
Especially
on board.
like resurgence. Obviously, Nick Willis is like a constant, but now you got Mason, who's been there for a bit, but he just made the Olympics.
Yeah.
And then you got Hobbs Kessler, like choosing to not go to college and just stay with them after being freaking 334 in high school with them already, and now you got yourself back there. It's pretty cool to see, like what's happening over there, and like you guys do make YouTube videos and stuff as well.
Yeah, that's Ron's son actually.
Yeah, I got to
Um,
meet him one time. He's cool.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
Does he run at Michigan, or he just goes to Michigan?
He goes to Michigan.
Okay.
So I don't think he's on the team, but yeah, he loves it, which is cool. And, you know, obviously it provides so much value to everybody involved. The companies involved, the individuals involved, and it's good. Hashtag good for the sport, hopefully.
Hell
with
yeah.
your
Hell
guys'
yeah,
approval.
it is.
certified.
And,
Certified fresh.
yeah. So yeah, it's a pretty cool dynamic, and there's also some floaters that kind of come in and out. Like it's not uncommon. I saw Morgan Beetlescombe in a couple pictures, who's
Mhm.
running really well at MSU.
Yeah.
They've got a really
That's
good
cool.
kid
Oh,
from
that's
Iowa.
interesting that MSU guys running at Armour. That's like that's some
that is weird.
Hot gossip.
that's some spice in there,
XOXO
baby.
Gossip Girl,
Some
yeah.
spice.
Hell yeah, good shout out. But from a training standpoint, is the because you were never coached by Ron, were
Right.
you? You were coached by Sully, but Sully was coached by Ron.
Yep.
So it's like from a training standpoint, is it all pretty familiar stuff, or is it new stuff?
I hope so. Yeah, it's from what I've seen and what I've talked to Ron about. Like it's gonna be the big difference is gonna be when we get to the marathon stuff. But yeah, it's pretty different than what I've been doing with Fox and the group in Charlottesville. But I've definitely just kind of like if I made this transition 4 years ago, like my head would be spinning about like, oh, like is it gonna work and all this stuff. And like nowadays, like I've been around long enough, I've tried enough different things that like fundamentally what they're doing, I feel really confident that it's gonna work well. So,
So you're not going to sweat the small details.
not gonna sweat the small details. So, but time will tell. I expect there to be a transition phase where like I'm gonna have to get used to things, and then from there, it's about just fucking ripping her.
Hell yeah.
Give her a good rip, mate.
Well, we're excited to see how that plays out,
We
especially
are.
now that we're on buddies.
Yeah,
So-
I know, and then that's what's sick too. Is like the cool thing about On is like this is kind of interesting because when I started my contract negotiation, like I made it pretty clear to Dan, like I was looking for an independent situation before even getting any companies involved. So when we started to get the ball rolling with On, like there's a whole new dynamic because there's a huge opportunity to be a part of OAC. But like when I started with On, like right away we just kind of started talking like, hey, we understand that you're looking to move to Ann Arbor, work with Ronnie, like let's support you to do that. So I was really impressed with like how well things moved around and like how supportive they've been of like whatever choice I thought was going to maximize my ability. And the first thing I did when I signed with On is I DM'd Dathan, was like, hey, like
yeah. Just
I
let 'em
know,
what's up.
yeah, I was like, I know like I'm going to be in Ann Arbor, but like I don't know how you guys do things, but if I ever came out to Boulder,
Hell yeah.
what do you think? And he was like super nice about it. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping we can have a lot of overlap because I'd be a fool not to take advantage of some opportunities to work out with you guys and get some altitude in along the way.
Yeah, we would
Definitely.
love to have you.
Sweet.
Yeah.
It is pretty special when brands still let athletes do what you're doing. I like that a lot,
Yeah,
and it's not like so controlling. But yeah, I mean, I think that's it for today. I think we've been going for a while. Probably a good time to wrap it up.
That's a long one, yeah.
But it's been good. Lots to talk about this week. We got the Millrose. So yeah, everyone wish these boys good luck racing tomorrow. And then thank you very much for coming on, Ben.
yeah, no worries. If you guys got to tighten up the editing, just slash my entire section and.
We would never. We would never.
But,
Thanks for the coffee. The other bag of coffee
Yeah.
is from being here,
Ben
Great.
brought us some
which
coffee.
we were drinking.
Charlottesville, Virginia, local chain,
Yeah.
great coffee, good
It's
stuff.
very good. We've
Good
just
stuff.
been spoiled over here. So thank you for bringing us that. But yeah, with that, thanks to everyone for watching. That's episode 19.
Thanks
See
for
you guys
having
next
me.
time.